Hi, Evan. It's Miss Strother, and I want to welcome you to your screencast of your final exam essay draft. So, today, what I'm going to be doing is reading through your introduction, one body paragraph, and conclusion to give you some feedback, because that's about all I'll have time for in the amount of time on this screencast. But before we get started with that, we're going to go through some really basic kind of errors that I can see just from just glancing at your essay. So what I'm going to do first is put it into Word, because there are a couple things that are easier to show you that way. And let's talk first about font. So I'm doing Control A, and I've already done this. I've already pushed Control 2 because I can see here that you are not double spacing your heading. I'm going to do Control Alt All, so Control A, Control 2 to space it out. I'm going to change your font to Times New Roman, and it's all 12 points, so you are good. My name's not Strother. I'm Miss Strother. The date goes last. You will never put your you might put your period. That would be acceptable, but you must first put world literature or English. Take your pick, either one. But this is basically what it should look like. Now, I prefer to have this say May 29, 2014, but every teacher is going to be a little bit different with that, so you're not getting points one way or another for that. This, however, is MLA formatting, so it must be in that order. Okay, and you have a nice title. That's great, and it's all capitalized. Very nice. Okay, I can see here that you have italicized this well, and you are putting quotation marks around the other ones, which is great. You want to have the comma and the period on the inside of your quotation marks at all times. Let's not capitalize archetype or hero. Same thing here. Okay. I see a topic sentence, but I still see this. So you want to make sure you're going down all the way through your essay and making sure to put the commas and periods on the inside of your quotation marks. Looks like your in-text citations, your parenthetical in-text citations need a little bit of support there. Several paragraphs, and let's see. Let's make sure we have one on thank you, ma'am. So if thank you, ma'am is the first one you're doing, then it must also be in your thesis statement first. So thank you, ma'am. Odyssey. Okay, fix your spelling of the Odyssey. And if you're going to do the Odyssey second, make sure it's in your thesis statement second. And then Superman and Me. Just make sure that's at the end of your thesis statement. Okay, and here's your conclusion. Very nice. We are going to go ahead and make sure that you have changed the capital letters here. Very important. Cool. Okay, and I don't see a works cited list. It's only 2 points, but out of 70, that makes an impact. So make sure you get that done. You've done it before. You just need to go to easybib.com to get all this stuff in. Okay, so I'm going to start with your introduction. I'm going to read it to you and give you feedback along the way. I know you don't particularly like being interrupted, but it's a good thing here. Okay. In almost every single piece of literature and in almost every single story or epic, there is a hero. So is that the most interesting thing to you about literature, is that there are heroes, or is it possibly more what the hero does or how they impact the story, or maybe that readers see heroes and they want to emulate their actions, or they want to learn from them, or it makes them feel some sort of sense of hope, something like that. So try to do something a little more creative with your first sentence, that you're not just making a statement that is maybe true for you or true for everyone, but just very simple. You want to move up that next level. Okay, when most people think of heroes, they think of superheroes such as Superman and Batman, people with supernatural abilities more times more times than not, take out that, go around and save the world from evil. Material that most would find in a comic book. Okay, that's a little bit awkward, so read it out loud to yourself and make sure that it makes sense to you. And while a hero can be one with supernatural abilities, countless people forget about the heroes that occur in common literature, such as short stories, newspaper articles, or common novels in which that hero, maybe in which their hero is just an average human being without, I would say without instead of with not, supernatural abilities whatsoever. The archetype of a hero, so take out the capital, can be either the main character or maybe you're trying to say just a character with a few mentions or appearances, but regardless of the size of their role, not it's their role in a particular story, the effect. Okay, so in this case, you're talking about a noun, which is an effect, that the hero has on other characters' or emotions remains constant. Very nice. The archetype of the hero has an effect on other characters' emotions in the Odyssey, Superman and Me, and Thank You Ma'am. Characters. Because I imagine you're talking about just more than one character at a time. Sometimes it is just one character, but if it's ever more than one character, then you need to make sure you're doing it correctly. You are welcome to do the extra S if that makes you more comfortable. I don't care either way. Personally, I do it this way, but either way is correct. Okay, the one thing you can do to really build on your introduction here is to actually introduce the 3 stories that you are using. You want to have a sentence for each. You could say the hero in the Odyssey by Homer, make sure you're including Homer in there, is Odysseus who, and you want to explain, just give a brief explanation of the story. You really here are not trying to tell the entire story, but since this is an analytical essay, you are focusing on analysis in each of your body paragraphs. The narrative, so that part that you're telling the story of what's happening, you really are doing very little of that in your body paragraphs, or you should be. So you are putting some of that into your introduction to make sure that when your reader goes to that paragraph, they already have a vague understanding of what's going on in the story. Also, you can then, let's see, you have 5 pages, but it's really 4.5. So this is one way to expand your writing to make sure that you have at least 5 pages, as by adding in those few sentences about those stories that you are going to be talking about in the rest of your essay. I might also kind of pare some of this down. It's just a lot of description, a lot of throwing stuff out there. So try to pare it down so that it's succinct. Okay, gotta move on for timing. Okay, the hero has an effect on the characters' emotions in Thank You Ma'am, period on the inside. This piece of literature is a short story in which a young boy tries to steal a purse from a woman because he wants to buy shoes. Yay! This is what you're putting up into your introduction. Don't put it in your paragraph, because by then you should just be giving the background for this quote. I just want you to turn me loose, he pleaded. So I think what you want to do then, so once you have removed that, then it should be the hero has an effect on the character's emotions in Thank You Ma'am. The woman takes the role of a hero because of the impact she has in helping the boy. The woman, I don't know if I would capitalize. The woman should not be capitalized. You should put her name, which is Mrs. Luella Bates Washington Jones. So you could say Miss Luella Bates Washington Jones here takes the role of a hero because take out the comma, because of the impact she has in helping the boy. She affects the boy's emotions numerous times in Thank You Ma'am. You can take this out. After the boy attempts to steal her purse, she firmly grips his shirt and drags him up the street back to her house. So we want to make your sentences more complex because they're tending to be too simple. Well, the boy begs to be let go. Okay, and I would put a colon there just because you can. So do you see how I took your 5 sentences, background information, and put them into 2 sentences? That's what you want. This whole background information should be the shortest piece. Your quotation and the analysis should be much longer than your background information because they are more important. In the end, you've got to realize that I really did read these stories, so I don't need as much background information. Also, you're trying to say something new in your essay. I want to hear what you think and what you have to say about it. I don't care what's going on in the story as much because that's already been done. I want to hear now from you. So in analysis, you're really focusing on how the hero has an effect on the character's emotions. So this is good. The woman affects his emotions right then and there. Let's make things more complex. The boy becomes scared and fearful of what might happen next based on the woman. There's just one woman's actions. He'd rather run away and have nowhere to go than go to wherever he was being dragged. Typically, you want to avoid ending a sentence with a preposition. Yes, this is good. How do you know? Why don't you try to be more specific? So you have that he's scared and fearful. That's great. He'd rather run away. Okay, you've got enough. Maybe later on in the story, the woman, fix this, has taken him into her house and is fixing him something to eat. While they are sitting down, the woman explains to the boy how she was young too, commas here, at one point, and there were things that she wanted she could not get. But despite this, she did not, make sure you're using absolutely no contractions. And the boy's mouth opened, then he frowned, not knowing that he had frowned. I don't think his frowning is from the sadness. Go back to the story, please, and check out what the frowning is for. I believe it's because he is sort of surprised, or it's something that he hadn't considered before, but please go back and check on that, because frowning is not usually sadness. That's usually a different, there's a different description in literature of that. But be careful, this should not be capitalized. Woman should not be capitalized. And it should be an A, because there's just one. Okay, because of timing, I need to move on to your conclusion, but you've got a good start on what to do when you with all of your body paragraphs. Less narrative, more analysis. Okay. Heroes have an impact on characters in every type of literature. Okay, usually you would... Alright, that's fine. That's sufficiently connected to your thesis statement. Not only do they have an effect on other characters' actions, look at that, very good, but their emotions as well. Heroes do not always have to be supernaturally powered to affect people's emotions, comma, as is evident in stories such as Superman and Me and Thank You Ma'am. Very nice. Put the period in the right place. Heroes. Maybe heroes change the way other characters feel and think about things because of their individual actions. Heroes have an effect on other characters in literature, such as... Okay, so you're doing some repetition here, and not necessarily the kind that is helpful, because there's definitely repetition that's helpful, but here you've said that they don't always have to be supernaturally powered. Maybe you want to say heroes have an effect on other characters in literature, such as in those stories, as well as the Odyssey. That might make it flow a little bit better, be less repetitive. The characters in these particular stories at one point either felt sad, regaled, angry, stunned, shocked, upset, sympathetic, or... because you're using either, so, or a host of other emotions, all thanks to one archetype, the hero. Okay, I might kind of play with this last little bit of your sentence here. This is cool to have the list of all the different emotions, or the major emotions they felt. So Evan, you're writing really well. As expected, this is actually probably your best writing all year. So I want you to now make it just a little bit better. Just move on up that one more level so that you have a very easy to read, logical, and flowy essay. Okay, looking forward to seeing your final exam.